Yes, people, welcome back to another Avengers stream. We've got in the big boys tonight. How are we all doing? We've got, thanks for the drink. Thank you very much. I've got
No problem.
Move from Noisy Pod. I've got Martin, Lads, Big Steve, and Daps. Yes, people, welcome in, man. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Big show tonight, guys. Loads to discuss, man. I want to be speaking about yesterday. Obviously, a big result, both for City at Everton and obviously Arsenal dropping points and getting absolutely battered, truth be told, off Brighton. I want to speak about Ilkay Gundogan as well. A lot of talk on his future with the contract running out at the end of the season. City making a mistake not offering him a 2-year contract. And then, of course, we need to get a little bit of a preview done for the game on Wednesday night. Massive, massive game. City taking on Madrid at the Etihad. Can we make it to a Champions League final, our second ever Champions League final? It's going to be absolutely huge. But let's start off with the weekend, man. City starting off Sunday, going to Goodison Park. I can't lie, I was a little bit shocked at how easy it was actually in the end. I thought it was going to be really, really tough. Wolf, what did you make of the game, the performance, and of course the result?
Yeah, I was a little bit worried about, the rotation for this one. Whenever Pep's got a little bit of like cushion when it gets to crunch time like this, he does tend to make a lot of changes. So the lineup, I hoped he would go strong with it, and thankfully he did. There was some key changes, obviously, with Kevin not playing, getting a rest. John Stones the same. But other than that, it was pretty stacked 11. And as soon as I saw that, I felt really good about it. The performance, it took a little while to get going. But once we got that first goal with that incredible, acrobatic goal from Gundogan, it was pretty comfortable from there. Just a performance of a well-oiled machine at this point.
Yeah, it was mega. Steve, you was at the game.
Yeah.
What did you make of it from the stands? Was you getting nervous until we got the first, or do you always believe that we was going to get that goal?
Nah, when you actually take a step back, you're playing Everton. We've just played Real Madrid in the Bernabeu, and then people are messaging me shitting themselves at Everton, who are second bottom with Sean Dyche. So you got to not let the other teams and the media get in your brain. When you actually you realise what team we support, what manager we've got, and what players we've got, it's just part of the process. I remember last season going to Wolves. People were saying the same thing. Fucking hell, Wolves on a Wednesday night. Kevin De Bruyne just screwed them up and just blitzed them. And it's like, that's what happened yesterday. You could see Everton were a bit cagey. They couldn't try and dominate us because we just had the ball. And before they knew it, they probably thought, half time, hey, we've done a blinder, 0-0. Bang, bang, 2 goals. They find themselves 2 down. They come out second half and they thought, you know what, damage limitation, because goal difference can affect them as well. So if they don't want to try and throw the kitchen sink at us and get hit by 5. So when they just scored 5 at Brighton. So they kept it down. They didn't really do much. Yerry Mina grabbing Erling Haaland off the ball, kicking him and being just a twat was what he's about. And the rest of it, we just dealt with it. We looked comfortable. And in the end, our lads, I spoke to Gail Clichy this morning, right, about when you're in a title running, because he's Arsenal invincible, he's Man City champion. And I said, the Arsenal 7-day thing with a break, surely that's got to be worse than playing regular. And he said to me, training is long when you've got a 7-day break. He said, you can overtrain, you can undertrain. He said, it's so hard to get that balance. He said, but when you're playing, he said, if you start the game and you go down the wing and you knock it past the fullback and you get round him and you whip it in, he said, your adrenaline's up here. He said, and then you're pumping through the game. And he said, rhythm is always the best. And I've always said that. And you look at the way we are, Arsenal players are getting injured. They're going off. And they're having a week's rest because the rhythm's not there in the bones and the joints. And like you say, City at the minute, we've seen it so many times. We've all seen it. Last 10 games is when we earn our bread and butter. That's when we come to life. And look at it now. 1 game for the title.
Well, don't you love the way he dropped that in there? I was speaking to Gail Clichy this morning. I was speaking to John at work.
You see his goal at weekend? Clichy's goal at weekend. He scored from the halfway line. So I said to him, "You didn't mean that," and he was like, "Nah, I did." And anyway, I was having a bit of a chat. But I tell you what, I'm interviewing him soon. But the guy is so intelligent about football. Honestly, it's unbelievable. You speak to him about only things players will know. And he's not biased. He's not, he's been great for Arsenal. He's stuck up for Arsenal if I've gone in Arsenal. But Man City, he just said Man City are a different animal. He said, when that Pep Guardiola gets hold of something, and he said, if you want to take something off, he said something this morning that I can't find it, something like, if you want to take something off the blue side of Manchester, you've got to come there and literally rip it off them. And I thought, that's good, man. That's good.
Yeah, lads, what did you make of it, man?
Yeah, I thought first of all, from a fan perspective, I thought it was good atmosphere. But building into the game, I was a bit worried. We got almost to like 30 minutes, hadn't scored. I was just thinking, is this going to be one of them where you get? But then they missed. I think the turning point. They had that chance at the back post. I forgot who James Garner. Yeah, James Garner whipped in. Yeah, and then they missed that. And I just turned to my brother and said, "Can you imagine now for 3-0 up at half time and they've missed that, and it obviously 2-0 would take that." But yeah, I think it's one of them where they almost got looking up at the clock and they're saying nearly there, nearly half time, nearly 0-0. We need a point. And I remember we played Cardiff a couple of seasons ago. Neil Warnock said he said that playing like the best team in the country, built into the game. You get 15 minutes in, you get half an hour, and you're 0-0. And he said next thing you knew, it was half time. They were 3-0 down, and that's what happens sometimes. We had that obviously great bit of quality, Gundo, and then Haaland as well. And whether you blame Pickford or not for some of the goals, who cares? But the fact we're 2-0 up half time, see it out 3-0. It was just a proper performance. 11 wins in a row as well.
I thought it, Martin, I'll come to you on this one. I thought it was, I don't think performance-wise, it was like the best performance I've ever seen. But for the occasion, I thought we played the occasion really, really well. You know, it could have gone there. We could have been sloppy. We weren't really sloppy. The passing was pretty on point. We didn't create loads of chances, but we knew. I think the players knew if we just keep the ball and keep getting that ball in around their penalty area, at some point a chance is going to drop. And I thought it was a really sort of professional and mature performance, and a performance that you can see from a team that's been in title races before. What did you make of it, man?
I thought it was performance of champions.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I'd love to say I watched the game great, but I managed to get a ticket and I was stuck behind one of them restricted view seats. Anyone's been to Goodison knows that they are. You get I think I've got to go and have physiotherapy on my neck today because I was doing all that all game. You know, didn't even realise how good the Gundogan goal was until you actually see it.
Which one?
Because from where we were, it's like, oh yeah, the ball's gone in, we're celebrating the goal, and you have no idea how good it is.
It's amazing.
Until you get there. But for the first 30 minutes, it was a bit, I wasn't nervous going in. First 30 minutes, thought, right, hang on. Now the shot now the team had really done out. It was a bit of a training exercise for the first 30 minutes, but as soon as City stepped up, it was game over. It was a performance of champions. We stood up, we kept the ball. Our players came in when they needed it. Erling Haaland didn't have a touch for 25 minutes? The next minute, he's scoring his 36th goal of the season.
Well, it was quite funny.
Clinical.
It's funny you say that because we obviously watched it on the Sky, and before he scored, they put up like his touch map.
They did, didn't they? Yeah.
And he had one touch, and I think they did it to sort of like roast him a little bit and murk him and said, "Look at this guy, man. He's only touched the ball once. 5 minutes later, he scored a goal." So it's like, you know, he don't need that many touches. I agree, man. I think performance of champions is
clinical.
Yeah. I don't know. That's you.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. Someone's asking about their chicken dippers, but yeah. Do you know what? So I was a bit nervous going into it, and to be honest with you, in the first 30 minutes, it reminded me a bit of the first game. Remember Everton at the Etihad? We kept trying to lump it into the box, right? And it's the one thing that Everton are quite good at is defending crosses. And I was kind of, my mate I was watching it with, I go, we keep just lumping it in the box. We're not going to get nothing like that. And then we go and score 2 goals from crosses. So what do I know about football? I mean, they ain't Roy Hodgson, are they, Steve? Eh?
You could tell them about Roy Hodgson if you want to break that down.
I can't remember I still to this day can't remember what I said about Roy Hodgson. But no, the thing is, you're spot on, Martin. It is the performance of champions. You look at the Leeds game, you look at the Fulham game, both of those 2 games as well. And this is the difference between us and Arsenal. And I'd even say, do you know what, Newcastle a little bit as well. That I think Newcastle in that game against Arsenal, they just look inexperienced, like at home. Whereas us is, I looked at the 4 away games we had when I'm looking at Fulham, Everton, Brentford, and Brighton, and I was worried about all of them. But I've always said that I guess I'm worrying that we go back to being the January, February City, and then we might not get them done. But if we're the City that we've seen season in, season out, this time of season, we just get it done by any means. And I think, to be fair, we look. It just proves we look better than we ever have done. That first Gundogan goal was just unbelievable. Really was. The way he knew where Pickford was, because I guess anyone can flick like that, but it's knowing exactly where Pickford was and knowing I need to put it that way, and the free kick as well. So yeah,
I'd probably end up in A&E if I did that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'd
be doing that.
I'd have a broken arm, broken leg, broken nose.
I've got it in the locker. You can all put yourselves down. I've got that in the locker. So.
Yeah, of course he does. Of course he does. How do we feel? How do we feel the lads that come in, like Foden, Mahrez? Obviously, Alvarez played instead of Kevin De Bruyne. Laporte played as well. Steve, how did you feel that them lads got on, especially Laporte, mate? Because he's not played too much over the year, but I thought he put in a great performance.
No, he did. But listen, he's a quality player. I just think his attitude the last few games from the fans looking at him walking off the pitch, not clapping, getting involved in the celebrations and that, he probably wants to be part of it. But there's no point sulking. You might as well think, you know what, I want to leave, but I'm going to win these trophies first. So he came in, he played well. Riyad knows his role in the team. He did okay. Foden, again, he's on his way back from that appendix out. So Pep's done. I think Pep's done it different this season with a rotation. He's not been scared to play Ruben Diaz and play Rodri and that. The most concerning one for me is Calvin Phillips. Again, in an ideal world, that game's made for Calvin Phillips to come in, boss the midfield, we get the points, and Rodri has a rest. He just doesn't trust him. But I watched him when he came on yesterday, and you watch him when he comes on. He's very, very static. He'll stand behind players, and whereas Rodri will move side to side to create the space and get the ball, he actually wants the ball. I think Calvin's suffering from a lack of confidence, don't really want the ball. He'll have the ball simple, just a nice little simple back pass to Diaz. But when he's got someone on his arse and he's got to actually get it and turn, he's not the answer. I don't know what's going on there. But listen, the way he's rotated the squad, the way he's managed to rest them. Real Madrid rested a full side bar Camavinga the other night. So they're rested. But listen, I think the rhythm does us good. I just think we were coasting in that game against Everton near the end. And I don't think we exerted ourselves. I don't think any of the boys were knackered. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. Mulv, what did you make of like Mahrez, Foden? Because for me, going into that Madrid game on Wednesday, we'll speak about it a little bit more in the second half of the show. I think all three of them on that right-hand side have got a great chance of playing. What did you make of Foden and Mahrez?
Yeah, it's difficult to judge the wingers against a Sean Dyche side, man, because there's typically, when they receive the ball, there's 2 or 3 players out there. There's really not much you can do. Foden tried to get around the back a couple times. Not very successful. So it really ended up being Mahrez cutting inside and trying to find somebody in the box. So again, hard to judge them when you're playing a team like that against a more open team, maybe. But in terms of Madrid, yeah, hopefully I'm not getting ahead of the program here, but I think when Pep said he had an idea of how to change things for the second leg, I think it might be that Bernardo on the right wing thing, and whether he wants to do something a little bit more, creative, a little bit more attacking. So it could be either Foden or Mahrez, in my opinion. That maybe that just one slight tweak from the first leg. So I think they both played well enough to be considered for that role. It's just whether he wants to, make that slight tweak on Wednesday.
Interesting, Martin. Something that I wanted to get the opinions of the panel on as well is Kyle Walker, mate, because he's had a bit of a weird season. Remember when he started the season and Pep tried to make him do that inverted role that he can't do. You know what I mean? It was poor. He'd been in and out with injuries, but I think he's playing some of his best football right now. I think I was watching a show last night. I can't remember if it was Match of the Day or a different show because I was watching them all, like you do when you have a big win. And they were saying he's playing some of his best football. Again, I think he's been playing really, really good. I want to get your opinion on it and sort of contract-wise on Walker. We've heard rumours that City are not interested right now of offering him a new contract. He's only got 1 year left on his deal. What have you made of him recently? And do you think City should get the negotiation started with Kyle Walker?
Walker's been fabulous the last few weeks. I've got to give the devil his due. We know he's had the issues off the field. Pep's called him out. But what I like Walker's been doing is he's just defended.
Mm-hmm.
He's not thought about this. Let's go bombing up the side and up a go, and I've got to get involved in the attacking phase. He's just done his job.
Mm.
And when he does his job defending, people always criticise Walker defensively. Oh, he's great attacking. I think he's actually quite a decent defender. And I've always felt he's been okay at defending. He just can't play that inverted role.
Mm.
He just can't do it. Sadly, it's just not every player can do what Pep Guardiola wants to do.
No.
That's just a fact of football. Rico Lewis looks so good because he's played it from 7 years old and come all the way through. When you've done it, you ask Rico Lewis to do a separate role, he might not be able to do it because he's not played it all his career, whereas Walker's had one job. Would I give him a new contract? Yeah. I'd give him probably a year extension, but I'd also, if he wants to go and finish career at, say, Sheffield United and go home, I'd say thanks for the memories, best of luck, and good luck to him. It all depends what Kyle Walker wants in terms of playing time, money-wise, length of contracts, because this is where the Gundogan thing comes in. They're going to set themselves up. If they give Gundogan a 2 or 3 year contract, is Kyle Walker then going to want a 2 or 3 year contract? Somebody else then? It depends where they draw the line on certain situations. Because they didn't give Fernandinho that length of contract he wanted.
Mm.
But he was 30, but he was 36, 37, right? There is an age difference there. Do you know what? Kyle Walker yesterday, first half, I think there was 2 challenges he put in that were absolutely phenomenal. Got back and really, really important. I think this season, I was saying in Madrid that I had a feeling he was going to. When Pep came out and called him out and said, look, he doesn't suit the way we play at the moment, I felt like Pep would not come out and say that openly to the press unless he'd had a conversation with Kyle Walker behind closed doors. And I think that conversation probably went along the lines of, right now, the way we're playing, you don't necessarily suit the way we're playing, but I'm going to need you this season. I am going to need you at points this season. And the thing with Walker is, look, Walker's won 4 Premier Leagues with us. Walker's a senior player. He knows he's fine staying on the bench. He knows his role because he knows in certain games, like against Vinicius, second leg, I will imagine Walker will start again because we're going to need him again. And Walker knows that. And you can imagine, what is he, 32, 33 now? He'll be looking at that going, yeah, I'm up for that. If that's what I'm needed for, those big nights in the Champions League, because I said to everyone in Madrid, if I say Kyle Walker's best games to you, you're going to say PSG, Neymar, Mbappe, they're Champions League nights. Because he's done the Premier League, he's done that. The one thing he probably wants is that Champions League. I also think him and Mahrez link up really well as well. He knows how to overlap and underlap Mahrez really, really, really well. And they had a few chances yesterday through that. But yeah, I'd give him, I think I'm the same as you. It depends what he wants. But I have a feeling that Walker would be happy staying at City. He seemed very, very happy in Manchester, very, very happy in and around the training ground. You got him and Stones who were both Yorkshire boys. Now they've got Calvin Phillips there as well. I could imagine him being happy and just saying, yeah, I'll end my career here. Because it will be a pay. If he goes Sheffield United, it's going to be a massive pay drop, isn't it?
Oh, of course, yeah. And the thing I would say on that as well is, I think sometimes the players, some of them know and some of them don't know. Pep changes his formations like there's no tomorrow. You know what I mean? He's playing this inverted, centre-back, inverted, right-back, whatever. Wouldn't surprise me if he started playing something completely different next season. You know what I mean? So all of a sudden, you've gone from 1 minute, and I think that's one of the reasons Laporte struggled, because I think Ake is probably better suited to that position than Laporte. Next season, we could go straight back to a flat back four. They sign a left back, a proper left back, and boom, we got a conventional back four again, and this inverted centre back's never to be seen. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes you do have to be careful making like assessments or like, I'm going to leave based on a single season's tactics, because Pep does like to change it. Lads, where are you at with these? Some of these like fringe players, some that came in yesterday, Walker, Laporte, etc.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to say give Walker a new contract, because I know Dap said about the wages, but if you look at someone like Jesse Lingard, he went to Forest and he's on like £250,000 a week, and it's because when these teams come up, they have to sign a load of players to try and stay up, and sometimes they can offer just big money if they don't have to pay for like a. Do you know what I mean? So if they were to pick up Kyle Walker relatively cheap or on a free or whatever, I feel like they could stick him on big wages. So if we want to keep him, he's probably going to want big wages. You know what I mean? So I would definitely keep Kyle Walker, even if he loses his pace a little bit in the next year or so. I'd definitely keep him just for the experience. He's potentially going to have won God knows how many league titles, trophies, etc., maybe even a Champions League. So just listening to him talking in interviews and stuff, you can hear his experience. Rico Lewis, he obviously will be bonding with in the same position. I'm sure he can pass on a lot of his kind of skills and things to him. So definitely stick him on a new contract. Gundo definitely needs a new contract. And I think Laporte obviously probably going to leave, but I'm happy with the way he's been playing when he has been called up.
I want to move on to Gundogan now, boys. So before we do, has anyone else got anything they want to say about the Everton performance yesterday in general? Are we all good on that? All good?
Yeah.
Buzzing. Right, got a couple super chats to read out, a couple member chats. Before we do, big up to today's sponsor, to guys at Manscaped. You know what to do, man.
85% of partners prefer a man who is groomed below the waist, and 96% of partners think bad grooming is a major turn-off. That's where Manscaped have come in to help us all out, including myself, lads. The Lawnmower 4.0 is a trimmer specifically designed with our crown jewels in mind. It has skin-safe technology to reduce those nicks and cuts and gives you the maximum confidence while trimming below the waist. It's also IPX7 waterproof rated, so you can operate in wet or dry conditions. It has a premium 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology and a massive 90-minute battery time, which is supported by its wireless electromagnetic charging function. With the Performance Package 4.0, you'll get the Crop Reviver with witch hazel and powerful odor defense. This keeps your balls protected after a good shave. Crop Preserver with its soothing aloe vera and advanced quick absorbing cream, keeping your balls feeling fresh and hydrated. And the Weed Whacker to trim ear and nose hair. The Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to keep you the most groomed man in the room. Use our code XTRA20 XTRA20 at checkout and you'll save yourself 20% off your order and receive free international shipping.
Yes, people. Just see
Well.
Daps, man. Daps loves it. Daps, where you at, man? You got the Manscaped on, huh?
No comment, Your Honour. No comment.
He's a big hairy fucking Care Bear, him, man. He's for there.
He's one of the 8%.
He's got no fucking conkers, man.
Yeah.
No comment. No comment.
Oh, man. Right, let's go through these member chats, then we can talk about Gundogan. Big up to Faris for the 5 months. Says, going into the Madrid game, knowing that the league is almost done is a huge boost for the squad. Pressure from the Premier League is off us now. Big up to you lot. Big up. Jake Levitz with the 9 months says, all the main guys are here. Come on, lads. Madrid getting battered. And Anakin Skywalker says, yes, what we said about Gundogan extension. I'd give him a 2 or 3 years. He hasn't shown any signs of declining as a world-class footballer. Speak about that in a sec. Albi with the 2 months says, Real Madrid are a glorified Everton. They play like Everton, but they just have better players. Mahrez has to start for me on Wednesday. Okay. 4 games away from greatness from Izaj, I think it is. Big up for the super chat, man. Jeremy Kuhn says, people say Man City were lucky to draw Real Madrid. I say the result was exactly what Pep drew up. This squad has been holding back. We will leave it all on the pitch versus Real Madrid, unleash the Viking and send them all to Valhalla. LFG. Big up J-Man for the super chat. T-Man says, big up the panel. Yes, T-Man. Channel YouTube says, Foden, no chance. He's still rusty till next season. And finally, Hala Madrid with a 10 says, you guys will be humbled soon. Champions League is different gravy compared to the Premier League. You don't need elite mentality when you have that much of a talent gap in your league.
Clearly, you don't need fans as well, by the way they turned up the other night as well, by the way. Shocking fans, can I just say
Haven't
that?
they sent 1,000 tickets back?
Not surprised.
Honestly, they were awful over there as well. They were really, really bad over there.
I remember last year because people were there's obviously a bit of a ticket kind of scandal, let's say, with the way the Real Madrid home tickets are kind of been distributed. But people were complaining that there might be Real Madrid fans in the home end. There's not going to be enough in the away end. Last year they only sold 2 tiers out of 3, and this year I'm guessing the same things happened. So don't think we got to worry about that.
Yeah, crazy. Right, let's speak about Ilkay Gundogan then, boys. Stunning performance again yesterday. 2 goals and an assist. Both goals absolutely, top draw. Where are we at with this contract situation? So the latest news that's coming out from pretty decent sources is that he wants a 2-year contract. Barcelona have offered him a 2-year contract. City have only offered him a 1-year contract, and that's one of the reasons that at the moment he's considering Barcelona ahead of Manchester City. Mulv, I'll start off with you. City making a mistake here?
No, I just he's a top pro, and he doesn't get all I don't know, distracted by these. He just waits for the end of the season typically, and then makes a decision. And it's for that reason I think a lot depends on whether we win the Champions League or not. I think if we win it, he might be inclined to dip, to go and do, another challenge somewhere else. But from City's perspective, regardless of that, they should do everything to keep the guy. The guy's he's class. I've been thinking about him lately. Number one, it was on the podcast I mentioned it. That was my main takeaway from coming over and visiting a couple of weeks ago, was watching him again in the flesh. Absolutely brilliant. And it was at Fulham where it really hit me how good this guy is. And then secondly, I was thinking about his legacy in terms of where does he rank with the other legends of the club. And for me now, he's in Yaya Toure territory in terms of like moments. You guys did a great show like a week ago when you were talking about who your favorite City players were and who the best City players were. And Lewis, you were saying like you thought everybody thought it was David Silva, right? But come to find out, almost the entire panel thinks it's Aguero, right? And it comes down to like, do you think it's harder to have to be consistent, play at a high level consistently, or do you think it's harder to have big moments in your career at a club, right? So for those that think David Silva is the best ever City player, they're looking at consistency, right? Because the guy's got 0 moments as a City player. No moments like in big game. I mean, the best moment he's got is probably the assist in the 6-1, right?
What an assist, though.
Sorry, I know. But what he
assist.
does have is there's probably the highest level of consistent performances throughout a career at Man City. Then the people in the other camp, like me, who remember moments. And that's why I've always said Yaya Toure is probably the best City player I've ever seen. But now Ilkay Gundogan's moving into that bracket of he's got a bit of both, to be honest. Although probably more moments now than consistent performances. But he's getting close to Yaya in terms of big moments in his City career. So just incredible player.
If you just look at him over the last 3 years, even if you go back to 2021, remember when De Bruyne got injured, right? And I think it was late January, early February, and Gundogan hadn't featured that much, and he stepped up, and we play him as a false 9, and he was our top goal scorer that season. And then the next season, the moments against Villa, and then this season, and you're spot on. The difference is that I guess with Yaya, my frustrations with Yaya always were his tracking back and his defensive work sometimes wasn't there. And he wouldn't track back. He'd be knackered. He'd be lying on the floor. Then the ball would kind of move towards him and he'd stand up and think, oh, and then he'd go and win us a game. And that season under Pellegrini, I honestly think he won us the league single-handedly. But you look at Gundogan, and he's got a bit of both. That going forward, he knows how to hit the box at the perfect time, like Lampard style, possibly better than Lampard, to be honest with you. But then defensively and deeper, he can do that David Silva role where he can pull the strings from deep as well. I just think he needs a contract before what's happened recently with him. If we're going to be getting in a young, whether it be we get in a young midfielder or whether we go with Grealish and Foden and drop them deep or whatever, I just think that Gundogan's football brain, and that's where I think we've easily got another year of playing out of him, but also just to have him round the players because his football brain's just different gravy. And look, I said at the start of the season, Fernandinho kept getting 1-year extensions because he was captain, and I think that will weigh heavily with Gundogan as well. The fact that he is club captain, but I think we've got to keep him for passing on that knowledge. And the other thing is that I think the other big factor with whether we let Gundogan go or not is Bernardo Silva, because we can't let both of them go. We cannot have Bernardo Silva and Gundogan leave in the same summer. I think that could be really damaging.
But why wouldn't we just offer him a 2-year deal then, Dapso? Makes no sense to me. He's only 32. It's not like he's, like you said earlier on, it's not like he's Fernandinho, 37 years old. His performances this year have been absolutely magnificent. He deserves a 2-year contract, man. You know what I mean? And you could even, if you are a little bit worried about him in 2 years' time, maybe he drops off. he's not an idiot. You just say to him when he's signing the 2-year contract, say, okay, the reason we give you a 1-year contract is because we don't know how you're going to perform in 2024, 2025. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll give you the 2-year contract, but just FYI, you might not be playing every single game week in, week out. And I'm pretty sure I understand that. You know what I mean? There's not many 35-year-olds that play week in, week out for top teams. It takes a very, very special players. You're looking at the likes of the Modric's of the world. You know what I mean? So it's a very rare thing. I don't know. I just think that, I don't know. I just feel like, are we heading into something like an unnecessary sort of decision? We don't need to do it. Lads, where are you at, lads, with the Gundogan contract situation?
Yeah, I definitely think we should get him on a new contract because, as you said earlier, like he's not dropping off. He's got the experience. He is the captain after all. He's saw a little bit of one of his kind of team talks before the game, and some people were saying he was too softly spoken and whatever. But I think the kind of things he's saying, seen on a couple of the documentaries he produced as well, his team talks are actually pretty good. They get us in the right kind of mentality, and I think he's a good leader, to be fair. So I think definitely get him on a new deal, and I think it'd be stupid to let him go, especially for free.
Yeah. Steve, Martin, any of you thinks that you're doing the right thing here with a 1-year contract? Or you both think they should give him a 2-year?
I just think you got to trust the club. I think if you roll it back to when David Silva left, Aguero left, Yaya left, Zabaleta left, we all probably sat there and thought he deserves another year. But when you look back at it, the club got it right. So they see him day to day in training. They know how he feels. They know if his missus is happy or not. So, for me, we might be a time to freshen it up in the middle. Might be a time to just say, look, you've been here 7 years. Thanks for the memories. You go on, do what you're doing. Same with Kyle Walker. Might be time where Pep thinks we need to freshen up the fullback. We need somebody a bit more mobile than him. We're not going to play that system anymore. John Stones might be the first choice right back next season. Rico Lewis might be behind him. Both of them can go into midfield. We just don't know. The one thing Manchester City Football Club are good at is making the right decisions and freshening it up. There's no other team you can look at over the last 10 years that could lose players like Vincent Kompany, Joe Hart, Zabaleta, David Silva, Sergio Aguero, Yaya Toure, right? Yeah. And still be as consistent as we are on the pitch. Because usually when the big team who are dominant start to lose the best players, they have a period of 2 or 3 years where they're not quite as good because they're trying to get back to it. What City do is they identify early, even when this player, we all think in our heads, he still can do a job. Just doing a job isn't good enough for Manchester City. That's why we don't want you around when you can just do a job. You have to do an elite job whenever it's called upon. And I think Ilkay, the heart was saying the other day at Everton, I was jumping around thinking, give him a 2-year deal. And then when I sat back and thought about it, I thought, you know what? We've got to trust the club. We can't let our emotions get the better of us. Otherwise, we'd still have Sergio Aguero up front. We'd still have Yaya Toure booting people in midfield because we all love them. So I just think we've got to trust the club. And like you say, we sacrificed Aguero. We went with a false 9. We won the league 2 years on the trot. And then we got the best number 9 in world football. That's broke all records. So you don't know what Pep's got up his sleeve. We've just got to roll with it. As Liam and Noel said, just roll with it.
Yeah, I concur with what Steve's saying. It's a really weird. Would I give him a 2-year contract? Yeah. But under the proviso, he may not be a regular for the experience. Because the problem, it's like the coaching role. Everyone wanted Zabba to be a coach. They all wanted Aguero to be a coach. They all wanted Kompany to be a coach. Everyone wants to be a coach. Yeah. You can't have everyone being a coach. Otherwise, we'll just end up with a 2011 team just rolling down in the background somewhere. And
be like the Rags. We'll be like the Rags have been for years.
And it's great. Like, listen, he's been fantastic. And I would keep him for his experience. But there's an old saying in football. There's an old saying. You're standing still, you're going backwards. Look at Liverpool this year. And I know it's a little bit different. But KDB's 32 next year. He'll be 33 in October, Gundogan. Before we know it, we're not careful and we don't manage this properly, which is what City are very good at. in 18 months, we're right in a Liverpool situation and we've not even realised it.
Well, Liverpool's drop-off is exactly what you said. Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita, James Milner, Jordan Henderson was all not good enough. And look at that Fabinho. When he was chasing City down, he was prime Fabinho, and they were talking about him next to Fernandinho. He can't lace Fernandinho's boots. He's nowhere near it. Look at him now, a season after he's gone. And they didn't identify at the time positions that needed strengthening. Now they've got a massive window and they've got to find 600 or 700 million to strengthen 8 positions, whereas Manchester City don't. We just strengthen 1 or 2 every year because we've got the eye on the ball and we don't let it deteriorate that fast. And there's no sentiment in football. There's none. And we've just got to trust the club on this one. And like you say, it's hard, but the club's always right in that situation.
I think what Mold said's a great part about Yaya. But for me, I think Yaya went 18 months too long.
Yeah.
I think he outstayed it. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and that's the thing we've got. We're all sitting now going, give him 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. Saying 12 months his levels drop. I'm not saying they will. You're going to get a total different, not from anyone here, but you'll get a total different reaction from the fan base. And then you'll get, why didn't we,
he might want for Ilkay Gundogan to come to Manchester. He's done COVID here, 2 years, no football, locked in his gaff. He's got a missive who had a bit of a whinge about the restaurants and that. They just had a baby, I think. And when they go on these breaks, City, you watch where the players go. Bernardo's always flies to Barcelona. So does Gundogan. Haaland's always in Marbella. So they like that sunny lifestyle. But what I'm saying with Ilkay, he probably just wants to try something new. And he owes Manchester City nothing. We got him for £20 million. He was injured. He came in first couple of seasons. He probably wasn't all that. And people were saying, you know what? I don't know where he fits in. And sometimes he didn't quite fit in. But look at him now, the experience. Look at him, the way he can control games. He's worth his weight in gold. If he goes on a free transfer, I think he's just another one of them heroes that goes out the door. I think we'll all be sad. But we'll look back in years to come and say, fucking hell, what a player Ilkay Gundogan was. The last thing we want to see is Ilkay Gundogan getting ripped apart in the Premier League of young midfielders and us going, look at Ilkay. He's fucking gone a year too much here. Let him go somewhere he wants to play. Let him enjoy his son. Let him do what he's doing. If he delivers a treble for Manchester City this season, I'll fly him to any fucking airport he wants myself. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is.
And I think that's the key as well, that we've got to remember. This, like your Gundogans, your Bernardos, they've been here. They've won back-to-back Premier Leagues twice. I think both of them have now. They're about to do the three-peat. The one thing, and that they've reached the Champions League final. The one thing is that Champions League. Then they can say we've done it all with City. We've done it all. I mean, look, other fan bases would probably say, oh, they might want to stay around for another 6 months. To do the Super Cup or whatever it's called.
None of that matters.
If we're being none of that, that's let them not talk about that. I don't think players even look at that and go, do you know what? I'm going to stay just for the Super Cup. But Steve's spot on. You know what? Sometimes that's something that we do as a club very well as well. That I've seen other fan bases say City disrespect their legends, right, by letting them go. But that's, again, other fan bases twist on the truth. And the truth is, what we do is we say, thank you for your service. You have been phenomenal, but you're going to drop down in the pecking order now. And we don't want to do that to you. So spread your wings and go and earn some dough and go and play football.
He's very respectful in it.
It is. It's like Zeko. We knew that Zeko was phenomenal. We love him. Look, I always say, if we win the Champions League, that might be the first song we sing, right? But the truth is, he was always going to play second fiddle to Aguero. So City said, you know what? We could keep you and you could come on off the bench, but you want more, we'll give you more because you've served us well. And I think it's probably what we'll do with Gundogan. And you know what? I know people are saying Bernardo might say we don't know yet, but the same with him. I said back in kind of January time when we got rid of Cancelo, someone should have a word with him and say, look, if you want to go in the summer, you can go in the summer. We'll even drop the price a little bit. We won't hold out for 60 million. Just give us another 5 months of prime Bernardo Silva, and then you can go, because that's all we want. We can't ask for any more.
Yeah, no, certainly interesting debate. Right, I'm going to go through some member chats on this, and then we can talk about Madrid. Big up Zerified, who thinks we should give him a 1-year contract plus an auto renewal if Gundogan hits a certain amount of games. I've seen a few people sort of suggest that sort of thing. Nick Toll says hunger never affected Gundogan. Still got 2+ prime years in him. I mean, that's the risk. I mean, look at Modric. You could let him go and he could slam it for 5 years. But that's the whole reason for the conversation, I suppose. Mid with a 26 months says Madrid, Chelsea, United, Milan, greatness, simples. And Dash says apparently Haaland makes us worse, but someone turned off the stream after 40 minutes. Arsenal won a treble of 93% top, games in hand, bigger fish to fry. What a PL, what a Premier League. Yes, Dash going in. Right, okay, let's talk about Madrid then, boys, for the last part of the show. By the way, guys, make sure you've smashed a like on the stream if you've not done so already. 900 people in the building. Let's get those likes up, man. We're 9 likes away from 400 likes. Make sure you guys have followed the subscribe to the rest of the panel. All the things are in the description, so you can just click on it and subscribe to everyone, and help support the growth of the City community. Right, let's get into the Madrid game, boys. Massive game, of course. You don't need me to tell you that. It's a shootout, man. It's a shootout. It's a one-off game. It's a it's a 1-1. I think I thought we got a great result in Madrid. Because given the fact that we didn't really create too much, I don't think it was our best performance in the world. I thought a couple of the players had kind of poor performances, but we got a 1-1. We're back at the Etihad. What are we feeling about this, lads? Let me come to you. Start on this one, man.
Yeah,
big game.
I thought, to be fair, the first leg was an amazing result. I'd have taken at half time. I'd have taken a 1-0 loss. We're 1-0 down at half time. I'd have been happy with that. Before the game, I was thinking we could win the game, get a draw, whatever. I think a draw was an amazing result. Away, it's a 2-goal improvement from last year. Lost 3-1 there, obviously. The legs are reversed. We're now coming back to the Etihad. Not lost in the Champions League here since that Lyon group game that didn't really matter that much in 2018. 25 games in a row, and I think 23 of those are wins. So dropping a few stats there, but the bottom line is it's a hard place to come. Probably one of the hardest places to come in Europe. And I think, I'm not going to say we're going to do it, but I think we can do it. If we turn up and we play like we did against Bayern Munich, I don't see Real Madrid being able to stop us.
Yeah. Fairs. Gaps, where you at with this?
Yeah, look, when we drew Bayern Munich, I looked and I saw we had Real Madrid's second leg at the Etihad, and I said, right, if we beat Bayern, I think this, and I've never said it before, I said, I think we can do it this year. This is the first time I think we can do it, because I know how much of a fortress the Etihad is. It's one of the most underrated grounds in Europe at the moment, really is, and even more so on European nights. People talk about Anfield on European nights. Anyone that's been to the Etihad on a European night, it's the same thing now. It's rocking, especially when we get these big teams. And do you know what? That first leg, half-time, I was so frustrated. I was telling anyone that wanted to listen to me, which, to be fair, probably wasn't too many people, the amount I'd had to drink. Definitely wasn't sleep, to be fair. I went to get some water and that. But it was that we'd been so good in that first half. But the fact of the matter is, we were 1-0 down. It was just frustrating. It was like same old Real Madrid, that you can't take your eyes off the ball. But that is because it was the way Pep played. Like, he didn't want to go toe-to-toe with them. You can't go toe-to-toe with this Real Madrid team because the way they transition is so quick, right? So Pep knew that. That's why me and Steve were saying it's calling out for Foden or Mahrez or someone direct. But when you think about it, if you're direct and you lose the ball, they will counter you very, very quickly. But I think the Etihad, that's when we're saying that Pep's looked at it and said, you know what? Within the players, the fans, and I think Pep Guardiola, we all know that at the Etihad, it's a different story, completely different story. And I think the fact we've gone there to their ground and done that, right, that'll be in their players' head a little bit, that they've come to our gaff and they've actually took it to us. Does anyone know, is Camavinga out, by the way?
I'm not sure. It's all politics, though, around.
Yeah, it's in the squad. It's in the squad.
Play games with you.
It's in the squad, is it? Because he was good in the first. He was very good in the first leg. Very, very good. But look, I just think, I keep saying it, Haaland wasn't brought in to win Premier Leagues, right? We did them without him. He was brought in for these nights. He wants this. He'll be irritated that he didn't score in the first leg. I think Haaland's going to have a beast of a game tomorrow night. I really do.
Morph, what are you
sorry, Wednesday night. Sorry.
You buzzing?
Yeah, I'm buzzing for it. First leg, okay performance. A performance that reminded me of something out of the first half of this season, where we sort of played within ourselves. But in terms of going there and getting a 1-1, brilliant, perfect. It brings you on level terms, obviously, coming back home, so it really is easy from a mindset. Like you just have to beat them. It's not like, oh, do we have a lead? Like even if we'd had a lead, right, 2-0, something like that. You're like, oh, do we protect the lead? Do we go for it? You don't have to worry about any of that bollocks. You just have to win on the night. So it's. I feel like I think he's gonna play the exact same team to start, and then hopefully that.
I think he'll start. I think he should start Mahrez. I think he should start Mahrez.
I think he'll start that way and the same way, and hope that the home, like being at home, sort of gives us that extra something. If it doesn't happen in the first half, I think then you'll see a Foden or a Mahrez. But I think he's going to hope that just being at home is that extra thing. The difference between home and away will do it for us. But I think we should be confident. Glad to see KDB rested, Stones rested. I don't think I would I don't know what Ake's fitness is, but I wouldn't bring him back for this. No. I'd leave it the way it was. Walker to handle Vinny and tell him to stay on him this time. Don't leave him, even if Camavinga comes running at you. Stay with Vinny, because I'd much rather take my chances with Camavinga coming through the middle than Vinny. But yeah, no, I feel good, man. I feel good. And I know Blues will be up for it.
Martin, Bernardo, Mahrez, Foden. Are you starting on that right-hand side, man? And why?
Bernardo. I think Mahrez started at Everton. As soon as that happened, I knew what he was doing. You look at the players who were benched, it was...
Yeah. You could see Bernardo move into the midfield and Gundogan goes to the bench. And then you get a new right winger anyway.
I think Gundogan has to
I don't
start.
know, man.
I
think Gundo in the Champions League as well is so good. The way he just controls the play, keeps us from always being erratic. Sometimes you get them games where you get like a 6-5 game and you're thinking, what have I just watched? That was just messy. There's 100 goals. What's going on? And I think Gundo's one of those players that can slow it down, and people like De Bruyne can speed it up and things. But I think for me, I think you've got to have Gundo in there. Really.
I didn't think Gundo was great first leg. I think
he was just knackered, though, mate. I
personally it's because he got jawed off.
Yeah, well, that's another thing.
The first half that might have had a lot to do with that. I don't think the first leg was hyped up by everyone else enough. I thought that was a perfect performance. Yeah, it wasn't great in terms of play, but you go back to every time we've gone to, especially last season. Sorry, Daps and Big Steve are going to go mad at me here because I'm giving them nightmares. You go back to last year, and Daps and Big Steve had to listen to that tune 3 times, bellowing round in the last 5 minutes. It's because we weren't disciplined. It was as though he went there and went, you know what? It's why I think he made no subs. We were in control. We were defending really well. We were having possession. We were even having chances. And I think he thought, I'll take this 1-1. We go back in front of Fortress that he had, and we go for it.
Martin, we've turned a 2-legged game into one home game, haven't we? Really? So
yeah.
If you look at it like that,
that's a great way of putting it.
And that's what I said at the start. It's a shootout, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's a shootout, and
you got to respect Madrid, but you don't fear them.
No,
I honestly think now we've come past that stage of, Bayern Munich sent a shockwave around Europe, not just beating them the way we beat them, the way we dismantled them. And I heard heritage and history and all that on that night. And listen, you got to respect Madrid. It'll be one hell of a game, but under the likes of the Etihad, I just think City will be different gravy, and I think we'll absolutely shit all over them.
The difference for me this time versus any other previous tie or season is the defense. The defense is just so solid that I'm really confident about it. That we just let our defenders defend. Cancelo's out, so he won't be dicking about in the final minutes. Starting counterattacks for the other side. I just think the mentality is right. The defense is really strong. It's just whether we can turn up that extra gear in the attack that we didn't quite have.
You need to be careful. He might DM you and say that you're provoking hate against him. So.
Okay. We'll edit that out.
He likes doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Steve.
We're not the same as you two. We've got one on the bottom talking to Gail Clichy, the other one getting DM'd off of Cancelo.
Does anyone think Kaki's back?
I think he'll be back. I think he'll be I think he will. I think he'll be available, but I don't think he'll play him. I think he'll stick with the Kanji.
Yeah, Kanji's done well. I think, listen, that performance the other night in the Bernabeu was so good. It was like they got the noses in front against a run of play. Then we was like, okay, let's not panic. A couple of years ago, we might have panicked and tried to throw the kitchen sink at them, got caught again, and we'd be 2-0 down. We let it ride out. We got the equaliser. And then they had a big decision to make, thinking, shit, we're on level terms, but we're at home. Do we press these now and try and get one and take a lead back to the Etihad? So I think they tried to have a go, but then City started to get into the game more, and they thought, you know what? And both teams sort of sat back, and City were happy. We've took it to the Etihad now at 0-0. It's 0-0 effectively. And we've got the crowd behind us. And the crowd is going to be so important at the Etihad. We've got a coach greeting, and I can't encourage anyone enough. Get to the Etihad early. It's fucking get an hour early. It's a European Champions League semi-final, right? Get there an hour early. Get your kids to the front of the queue. Get this coach. Get in that ground, right? And there's been this big to-do about tickets and a lot of day trippers buying tickets and all that. That ain't our problem, yeah? That's something Manchester City have fucked up with there, right? I get it. But we've all got to get behind this team. So we've all got to get in that south stand, get it rocking, do what we've been doing all season. There's something happening this season between the fan base and the players, and there's a connection that we haven't seen before. And we need to get behind them on Wednesday night like we've never got behind them before. I came out of Everton yesterday and I couldn't speak. And
I couldn't speak. I lost my voice. There's a clip of me, Steve. I sound about 12.
It's mad though, because that's how it gets you. And tomorrow we've got to do it. We've seen so many times where we've gone into a big game, Champions League final in Porto, for example, and our away end was dead. We didn't expect to be there. We didn't know what we were doing, but we do now. Every one of us that have followed this team this season, these European aways, has got this team over the line. You're seeing it more and more on social media. How loud are the City fans? They've not shut up. There was 1,800 of us in Madrid. We sounded like there was 10,000 of us. Even the Madrid fans coming out said, you guys never stopped. And all I can say is Wednesday night, whether you're in the Colin Bell, the fucking Tunnel Club, whether you're in the family stand, whether you're a steward, whether you're a copper, or you're a City fan, fucking sing, man. Let's get this team to Istanbul. We need to do it, all of us together.
And make the coach welcome him. That is, we need to roll these lads in.
Do you know what? And what Steve said there is true. Last night, right, hold tight, Eddie's son, Jensen, right? There's a little clip, right? Jack Grealish took it and posted it, right? And I've been saying this to these Arsenal fans. Steve said to me a good couple of months ago, this whole shark thing, right? When he said it, he said to me, Daps, we've got to really lean on them, because we think we're on social media just acting up and doing whatever. But you know what? These young kids at clubs, they pay attention to social media. And when they see how, and I can't say it enough, like Steve just said it there. When we got to that Champions League final against Chelsea, that was the first time as a fan base, we started to believe that we could do this, yeah? We started to believe. But if you look at every single knockout game, forget the group stages, but the knockout games, since that game against Porto, we have got better and louder and better and louder. And the performances on the pitch have reflected that. So honestly, and I keep saying this on every stream I do, I was having an argument with an Arsenal content creator last night because I was saying he was going on about how the team bottled it. I said, but I did a show with you 3 weeks ago and you bottled it. If you bottled it 3 weeks ago, so the fans know that your whole fan base bottled it 3 weeks ago. When we beat Arsenal, really and truly, yeah, that's when their arse went. And it's the same thing. We have this power that people underestimate. And Steve's spot on. We've got to get there and just sing our hearts out, man, because we are the 12th man. Like the fans are the 12th man. I've said the same about, West Ham. When Arsenal were at West Ham and they were 2-0 up, that second half, they were fighting a team that were fighting relegation, and the West Ham fans were loud that second half. That's what can happen when you're facing a 12th man. So we have to do that. We've seen where everyone talks about Anfield. The Etihad is the same, and we just have to keep this going. We've got
the Arsenal game.
Leanness.
Yeah, it was a cauldron.
They had to do a public walk. Don Robbie had to walk around the Etihad and say to his fans in Malaysia and Singapore and fucking China that, do you believe we can do this tonight? I don't have to tell my fans to believe. We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're getting there. We're the ones that get hate. Look at them yesterday. No one in the stadium when that final whistle went. That's a team that's just excelled itself all season. That's gone in the title race with Man City. That's gave them some absolute class moments along the way. And they got beat at home and they all fucked off. We don't fuck off. Real Madrid might come and turn us over on Wednesday. You think we're getting off? No. We're there till the end and that's it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Real Madrid, European heritage and European royalty will know on Wednesday night at fucking 9:30 that they've been in the game. And let me tell you that. And the fans are going to do it. We're going to do it. I can sense it. We're going to bring it, and we're going to get the boys to Istanbul.
Yeah. I've never been
or Lisbon.
Yeah. No, I've never been as confident as before. In the decade that we've been in the Champions League, this is the most confident I've ever been, man.
I've never been as confident in this team.
Yeah.
I've never been as confident in the City team as I am right now.
The mentality of City fans is changing, right? And it is, and it's hard. To get that out of a fan base, to change your mentality, to get out of a fan base is so hard. You see people and like, we can go 25 games undefeated and we'll play Watford and somebody will go, fucking hell, we're going to get beat off Watford. That's just how it's in you, that as a blue. That's where it is. But what I'm saying is now people are just thinking, you know what? We're a different animal now. We're a different team. Mentality on and off the pitch. The fans are now believing it. You know, you used to go to some Champions League games. People didn't really believe. They were all bouncing around in the square full of Stella like they actually believed. But when they got in the stadium, they're quiet as a mouse. It's different now. We're bouncing around in the square like a load of idiots. We're bouncing around in the stadium, man. So
the way we walked to that ground on last Tuesday, I was proud. I'm not going to lie. It was mad. We took over the whole city. We really did. And it's walking. It's not just walking there to get to the ground. It's walking there. You know, when I came out of that subway, Real Madrid, I couldn't care less how many Real Madrid fans were there because I had a load of Blues with me. So
yeah, I got dropped wrong into the ground, didn't I? My own.
Again.
Well, saying that though, I did get told last night City might lose their last 3 games of the season and lose the title. I'm like,
hold tight.
It's not happening. It's not 1996 anymore.
We've got the biggest difference this season is the big man up front. You've seen it at weekend. He didn't have a touch for 30 minutes, and then bang, it's in. And Real Madrid know that. They made special allowances for him at the Bernabeu. Rudiger was all over him like a rash, but he left Kevin De Bruyne. We are a different animal and we can play different ways. If we have to go long, hit Erling, lay it off to De Bruyne, we can do that. If we have to play the midfield with a fullback coming in midfield, we can do that. Real Madrid are no mugs. Carlo Ancelotti is a very clever man, and he's going to come with a game plan. We've just got to not rush it. We've got 90 minutes. Get our feet embedded in the game. Get possession. Don't make mistakes, stupid mistakes, and take our chances. And we're Manchester City Football Club now. We're one of the best teams in the world, and we're arriving every year at this late stage of the competition, semi-finals, finals. And I do believe that with the crowd behind us on Wednesday night, this is one of the magical nights at the Etihad that we dreamt of, and we've just got to get over the line.
Spot on, mate. Spot on. Right, let me finish off with these member chats. So I've got Jack Lee with a 15-month says, we must beat Real Madrid. No excuses. This is our best chance in this competition. The wait is over. Treble is loading. Roberto with a 10-month says, let's fucking go, boys. City till I die. This year's been amazing so far. I can't wait till Wednesday. I took it off work to watch our Blues. Big up Roberto. Mr. Banks with a 2 says, champions, big up the Avenger panel. Yes, Banks. Joe Griffiths with a 2 says, Madrid was visibly gutted, didn't want that draw. Yeah, exactly. I agree, man. You could tell at the end of that game at the Bernabeu that they were the ones that were gutted, not Manchester City. And Mark Prendergast with a 10 says, disagree on Haaland only being brought in to win a Champions League. They said the same when Pep came. We had no striker after Aguero left and went for Kane. We compete for all the top players these days. That's fair. I mean, to be fair, he did come out in an interview and say that basically he's been bought in for the Champions League, but it's all trophies. We go for all trophies, which I think
I do agree with that. We do,
yeah. And Hala Madrid, very confident. Well, let's see Wednesday night, Hala Madrid. No way you guys are beating us. We'll see, man. We'll see.
He's going to be that guy's going to be £12 and 3-0 down on Wednesday, hopefully.
See, I just love Steve's speech. He's not had to get cold, walk around the Etihad, take his coat off for anything. He just sat and done it from his chair.
I'm doing a war cry. So tomorrow I'm going to do a Real Madrid war cry, I think. It'd be like a Winston Churchill speech when he was getting everyone to get on the boats and get down to France for the D-Day. So it's D-Day on Wednesday, so expect a speech.
Buzzing. Well, I was going to say, what's coming up on the channel? So you're doing a Winston
I'm on a Real
Churchill.
Madrid channel tonight. Can I just plug it for him? Because there's a Real Madrid channel called Let's Be Real. And it's run by 3 foreign lads. I think they're from Canada and America. But I tell you what, it's one of the best podcasts you'll ever see. The humble guys. I'm on their channel at 8 o'clock tonight. Proper Real Madrid fans. No bullshit, no banter, none of this heritage shit. They're just good people. So 8 o'clock, if you're at a loose end, Let's Be Real podcast. They need the subscribers. Let's get behind them, man.
Mm-hmm. There you go. And what you got on your channel? There was something on before this, right? On the Big Steve.
Yeah, I just did an Everton review, and then I just talked about obviously one game at a time. Give Arsenal a bit of shit. That's on my channel now. It's pretty funny if you want to watch that. But no, I appreciate letting me plug it.
Sweet. Lads, what's going on, man?
Got the vlogs keep coming, LB. Got some big games coming up as well. So if you want to see, what a game looks like, maybe from the away end or whatever, just
lads, I meant to speak to you about. Did you see that about Ian Cheeseman?
Yeah, I've somebody. I don't really know exactly what's gone on, but somebody told me to have a look. I'll have to.
Yeah, because he said that somebody from City had contacted him and said you're not allowed to film in the stadium now and put it on your thing, but don't know how true that is.
Yeah, so have to have a look.
Okay, well, Matchday Vlogs, big up Farhad as well. The answer to the question, bro, is mint. Daps, what's going on, man?
Yeah, never have failed. Generic football content. Yeah, we've been enjoying cooking some Arsenal fans, but I had to remind them last night that the league is not over yet, so there'll be more tears next weekend, which I'm looking.
You just want to like stretch out the pain, don't you? That's
you know what? I do
lose 3 games.
Do you know what? I've had 1 or 2 Arsenal fans saying, "Oh, go easy on us," and it's like, no. You can't slide in our DMs the way you slide in our DMs and talk all the crap about Odegaard being better than De Bruyne. Party being better than Rodri, and expect that when you bottle it that we're just going to go, oh well, yeah, we'll be humble. No, none of that. I want to see him cry. I do.
Yes, big up, man. Yeah, Martin, what's going on the channel, man?
Yeah, Mancunian way. We did an Everton post-match last night. I celebrated and got told to stop. If anyone wants to go and watch that, by a couple of fellow dinosaurs. Yeah. We're going to do some, there's not a lot coming out. The next thing will be on Wednesday night when I do a show, and I might even do a live from the bus greeting, but because I will be at the bus welcoming on Wednesday with the rest of the lads. And then we'll do a post-match on Wednesday.
Sweet. Move had to dip early, guys, but go check out Move, Noisy Pod. One of the best podcasts you can listen to for City content, guys. So go check that out. All the guys' details are in the description. So make sure you subscribe to them, man. Just hit it and subscribe. Get everyone up. You know what I mean? Let's get this. We don't want to gatekeep City content in it. You know what I'm saying? We want everyone to rise together, man. So that's the best way for me. So yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the stream. If you did, make sure you drop a like on it. Subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. And people, we'll catch you in the next one, man. See you in a bit. 85% of partners prefer a man who is groomed below the waist, and 96% of partners think bad grooming is a major turn-off. That's where Manscaped have come in to help us all out, including myself, lads. The Lawnmower 4.0 is a trimmer specifically designed with our crown jewels in mind. It has skin-safe technology to reduce those nicks and cuts and gives you the maximum confidence while trimming below the waist. It's also IPX7 waterproof rated, so you can operate in wet or dry conditions. It has a premium 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology and a massive 90-minute battery time, which is supported by its wireless electromagnetic charging function. With the Performance Package 4.0, you'll get the Crop Reviver with witch hazel and powerful odor defense. This keeps your balls protected after a good shave. Crop Preserver with its soothing aloe vera and advanced quick absorbing cream, keeping your balls feeling fresh and hydrated.
and the Weed Whacker to trim ear and nose hair. The Performance Package 4.0 is everything you need to keep you the most groomed man in the room. Use our code XTRA20 XTRA20 at checkout and you'll save yourself 20% off your order and receive free international shipping.